What's up, Cornerstone? It's week 4 of our Stronger Together series. I hope you guys are enjoying your time in life group, and I've got really good news. So far, we're into week 4, and we haven't heard that any life group got so close that someone wind up killing each other. It tends to happen in family, but glad to see that you guys are just doing well. Glad to see that there's new people getting involved, and I'm really looking forward to hearing some of the stories that come out afterwards of just relationships that got tighter, relationships that got better, things that were just prayed through, and just stories of how God works through you guys in our church family. So this week, here we are, week 4, and we are going to be looking at growing together. So one of the most important moments in my life was when I met Michelle. We started dating, and I felt like I knew from the very beginning, like, this is the person that God has for me. I'm not sure she knew it as quickly as I did, but I knew that that was the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. And I worked hard in the dating process. I made sure that she knew that she wanted me in return. But here's the thing. I'd been in other dating relationships before that, and obviously none of them went anywhere. And because things got hard, so I bailed. Things got boring, so I left. Things got whatever reason, they ended. See, part of the problem in church families is people tend to see the church as a dating relationship instead of a marriage. When things get tough, when things get difficult, they choose to hop to the next church. When somebody offends them, they would rather just find a new church family to be a part of than confront the person that they had an issue with. But guys, we're called, if we're going to grow together, that means we have to work through life together as well, the goods and the bads. That we want to be committed to our church family, just like we are in a marriage. We want it to last. And so we're going to work through it, and one of those things is just growing together. I think one of the important aspects of that growing together is the idea of growing deep roots. And truthfully, you guys are doing that right now by being part of a life group. It says that you actually are happy where you're planted, that you want your roots to grow deep and wide, so that when the winds come, you're not a tree that's just easily knocked over or a plant that's easily pulled up. You want those roots to stretch out. And the strongest ones are the roots that actually wind up intertwining with other trees and plants, and they begin to share nutrients. And that's what I hope is going to be accomplished as we grow together as a church. All right, so we've got a few points here. Hopefully you have your book with you. Relationships, they take work, they take time, and number 1, they require patience. Do you guys know this? Okay, ask Michelle. In order to grow with me, in order to be in a relationship with me as her husband, she has been blessed with great patience. It must take a patient person to live with me. And it takes patience in order to deal with other people. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 in verses 4 and 5, it says this: love is patient, it's not rude, it's not easily angered. I have to be honest that, Michelle and I, we really don't fight too often. We bicker and we disagree on things, and I think God's really blessed us in a way that we've both been able to choose not to jump to anger quickly. And the same thing is necessary in our other relationships, and especially our church family. We really can't be quick to anger. We need to be patient with each other. We need to be respectful and not rude. One of the things that love does is it puts up with things. I'm going to just challenge you right now. Who is the person that you love most in your life, and what is the thing that annoys you most about them? It probably took you like half a second to think of that thing. Whether it's the knuckle popping, the neck twisting, the way that they snore at night, the silly little noises that they make, how they phrase certain things, whatever it is, it didn't take you long. You knew immediately, dude, I love this person, but this is the one thing that just drives me crazy about them. But when we're patient, it puts up with those differences. And in fact, it not only just puts up with them, but it appreciates them. Because it allows love to begin to see the individuality in each person. Ephesians 4:2 says, "Be humble and gentle in every way. Be patient with each other and lovingly accept each other." Lovingly accept each other. In parentheses, Paul might as well have put, that means even with their flaws. So those things that annoy you, the way that your husband doesn't do the dishes, or the way that your wife doesn't vacuum, I don't know, I'm just making stuff up right now. Whatever it is, right? Love accepts despite those things. Who are the hardest people in your life to lovingly be patient with? I know you know who they are, because as soon as I asked the question, I had about 3 names pop into my head. Maybe those are the people that God's calling you to pray about this weekend, and show them a little love, show them a little patience, to put up with those things a little bit better so that you can love them a whole lot better. Number 2 in your notes, love requires truthfulness, right? I actually don't, as I'm looking at my notes, I realize I don't like the way that the word truthfulness is spelled. It should have 2 L's in it, right? Truthful. Don't cut that 1 L off, because we don't want half truth. We don't want partial truth. But love requires truthfulness. And here's the deal. If love requires truthfulness, then love requires courage, because it takes courage to be faithful. Okay, guys, this is a question for you. But when your wife comes up to you, if you're not married yet, you can just imagine this day ahead of you. And when she comes up and says, "Hey, what do you think about my new hair? Hey, how does this outfit look on me?" Now you have to ask yourself one very important question. Do you have the courage to tell her the truth? You might also want to know, what is she actually asking? But that's the thing, right? Truthfulness requires courage to tell it exactly how it is. Because when we're truthful and when we do it lovingly, we're able to do it despite the consequences, because we know that we're saying it for the right reasons. 1 Corinthians 13:6, it says, "Love rejoices in the truth." Ephesians 4:15, it says, "Speak the truth in a spirit of love." Oh, did you catch that one? See, here's the problem that a lot of us have, is we have this idea that we want to just tell somebody the truth. But when we're thinking about it in our head, it's coming out like this, that we want to just tell them off so that they can hear the truth. But Paul is telling us here that we're supposed to speak the truth with a spirit of love. It means that whatever that truth is, we want to wrap it in all of God's love and hand it to them so that it can be received properly. We need to get to know, pause, cut, restart. We need to go to those who hurt us and for those that we hurt, and we need to truthfully tell them how we feel. It's important, especially in this section right here, that when we're confronting somebody, we really want to make sure that we are saying it in love. Getting to know others requires trust, which also requires vulnerability. In order to really tell the truth, you have to be vulnerable about who you are. And guys, I know that takes courage. And so as we look at these 2 points, let me give you some practical advice about how you can go about some of these conversations. Number 1, check your motives. Why in the world do you want to say this to that person? You really need to think about that. Are your motives because you want to tell them how you feel? Or are your motives because you need to let them know out of love? Matthew 7 verses 3 through 5, it says, "Why worry about a speck in your friend's eye when you have a log in your own? First, get rid of the log in your own eye, and then perhaps you will see well enough to deal with the speck in your friend's eyes." We all have issues that we deal with on our own. And unfortunately, sometimes it's hard to point out our own flaws, to be truthful to ourselves, because we've bought the lie for so long that we don't have an issue. So a lot of times those little things that bug us in other people are actually the things that we don't like about ourselves. So check your motives before you go and talk to that person. Proverbs 27:6 says, "The slap of a friend can be trusted to help you, but the kisses of an enemy are nothing but lies." See, our job in friendship, in family, through love, is to build each other up, not tear them down. Yeah, sometimes it hurts to hear the truth. But like this verse says, I'd much rather be punched in the gut with the truth from a friend than to buy into the lies and the kisses of the enemy. Because which one has my best interest at heart? The next thing that we need to do is we need to plan our presentation, right? We need to know exactly what we're going to say. And that's number 2. Plan when you're going to say it. So here's the thing, guys, we need a plan. We need a plan of what we're going to say and when we're going to say it. We need to know what's going on. Proverbs 25:11 says, "The right word at the right time is like precious gold set in silver." The right word at the right time in the right way. Here's another thing that saying is, hey guys, maybe you just need to pause. Maybe you need to not react right away, but instead you need to give it a minute and you need to pray about it. See, Paul tells us that we're not supposed to be quick to anger. Instead, we're supposed to be quick to forgive. So in that moment, if there's something that's bugging you, and if you feel quick to anger, then let me just give you this advice. Pause. Be still for a moment. Spend some time reflecting with God. Ask Him, why do I feel the need to confront this person? How do you want me to confront this person? What do you want me to say? When do you want me to say it? God, right now, do you want me to say it, or do you want me to just be silent? That way, when the right time comes, you're able to present the right words in the right way. The next thing is plan what you're going to say. Proverbs 15:12 says, "A wise friend's kind reprimand is like a gold ring slipped on your finger." See, when a friend gives us truth, even if it's difficult to hear, it should feel like a blessing. It should feel like a kiss on the cheek, not a slap across the face. And if you have that right kind of friendship, I'm sure it'll be received in the same way. Not always in the moment. Sometimes it takes a little while, but I promise your friend will appreciate it. Next, we want to plan how you're going to say it. Proverbs 12:18 says, "Thoughtless words can wound as deeply as any sword, but wisely spoken words can heal." In other words, it's all in how you say it. Do you guys catch that, right? It's the tone. How many of you guys have gotten into that argument I know we've said that one to our kids, right? It's not what you said to me, it's how you said it. That's why you're in trouble. It's also why I would recommend that you avoid text messaging when you're trying to have these conversations, because it's impossible to read tone in a text message unless you're just some crazy emoji ninja and you know how to get all those right emojis in there so that they can do it. Use a lot of parentheses. Hey, I'm saying this with a smile. Hey, my heart bleeds. Hi, isn't it so much easier just to talk to somebody face to face? To have a conversation over the phone. That way the right tone can be heard. That way the words that you're trying to say are going to be received in the right way. You can't be persuasive if you're being abrasive. I know I've fallen into that category before because I have a tone about my voice that doesn't always come across as sweet and sincere. Sometimes I have an attitude where I just want to say what's on my mind, and in those moments I realize that I'm being abrasive. Let me just ask you a simple question. If you're in the restroom, would you rather use sandpaper or toilet paper? How many of you have ever bought toilet paper that feels like sandpaper? You know that that's not a brand that you want to buy anymore. Maybe at the beginning of the epidemic, you were tempted to use sandpaper. See, our words, though, with others are that same way. We want to make sure that they're received in a very soft, comforting way. Next, we just need to pray. I know it sounds almost cliche, but how many of you spend a good amount of time praying about something before you talk to somebody? It's amazing what happens when you invite God into the conversation. Next, in your notes, we want to say it tactfully. Proverbs 16:21 says, "A wise person is known for his understanding. The more pleasant his words, the more persuasive he is." Let me give you an analogy of what this looks like. There's two people both holding a rose. They both want to present it to the person. One person goes in with the petals and the flower and the scent, and it's received so kindly. The other person has the rose, but it's upside down and is presented first with a stem and thorns. We need to be tactful about how we present our conversations, because our words can be received either as sweet as a flower or as hurtful as a thorn. We want to say it lovingly and we want to say it gently. Proverbs 15:1 says, "A soft answer turns away wrath." Galatians 6:1, if someone is trapped in sin, you should gently lead that person back to the right path. Did you catch that word there, gently? Proverbs 24:26 says, "An honest answer is a sign of true friendship." With those last couple points, put those all together, and I want you to think about this. If you've taken time to pray about something before talking to somebody, maybe that person also needs some time after receiving it. Because remember, you may have had time to pray about it, but they haven't yet. So we want to lovingly and gently allow them that time so that we can continue to have that conversation. I also want to just give you advice to say, don't be cowardly, right? Don't anonymously send something. I know this is like a big fear of pastors. It's the note left on the note card in the back of the chair, but they don't sign their name to it. And it just simply says like, "Oh, you're so wrong, blah, 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 blah." But then they don't put their name to it. So it's like, how do we follow up on that conversation? How do we say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for bringing that to my attention." In your friendship and in your family, make sure that you present your words from you so that they know who it's coming from. Whenever we whenever we confront somebody, We want to make sure that we're seeking relationship, not revenge. Right? This kind of goes back to all those points before us about doing it lovingly, doing it gently, checking our motive, leaving anger at the door. The goal should always be for the sake of the relationship, not for the sake of revenge. If getting even is your goal, then maybe you shouldn't say anything at all. Number 3 on your notes, growing together requires forgiveness. 1 Corinthians 13:5 says, love keeps no record of wrongs. Colossians 3:13 says, bear with each other and forgive whatever grievances you may have against one another. Forgive as the Lord has forgiven you. Matthew 7:2, in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. All of those verses are very simply to say this. It's really difficult to have a healthy friendship, to have a healthy relationship, to have health in within family if forgiveness isn't something that's freely offered and offered often, both to others and to yourself. So I'm going to just encourage you to let you know that one of the greatest ways that you can say I love you is to say I forgive you, or to say will you forgive me. All right, Cornerstone, I hope you guys have a great discussion in your life groups tonight. Look forward to hearing some of these stories. Don't forget that you can check out daily video devotions on Facebook and Instagram. And look forward to seeing you guys on Sunday. And I will see you guys back on the video in week 6. Have a good week, guys.